This is Pulse of Africa, the face and voice of Africa. The story of resurgent and burgeoning Africa is here, only on the Pulse of Africa channel. Pulse of Africa, the face and voice of Africa.
Good evening, I am Samia Mohammed. You're tuned into Pulse of Africa, broadcasting live from Addis, the heartbeat of Africa. Stay tuned to our channel for the latest updates on current affairs in Africa and around the world. Africa News emphasizes the urgent need for young people across the continent to take on leadership roles and shape Africa's future. Youth leaders from Namibia, Kenya, Nigeria, and Liberia convened for a profound and forward-looking dialogue on the pivotal role of young people in realizing Africa's aspiration for progress and unity. Their discussions underscored the urgent need for youth to transcend the continent's persistent challenges and embrace their potential as agents of change. The leaders acknowledged that Africa faces a multitude of systemic issues, including widespread unemployment, deficiencies in governance, and inequalities in justice. Yet, rather than being deterred by these obstacles, they emphasized that young Africans must cultivate innovative solutions, harness their creativity, and take proactive steps to shape the future they envision. Central to their message was the importance of collective action. They urged youth to organize themselves into associations and movements that advocate for transformative ideas and policies. By working together, they can amplify their voices and influence decision-making processes at all levels. Most critically, the youth leaders stressed the necessity of assuming leadership roles. Osisigo Osikeni, president of the All Africa Students Union, articulated that occupying position of leadership is essential. He asserted that only by stepping into these roles can young people effectively champion their agenda and drive the change needed to reshape Africa's trajectory.
Pulse of Africa is now live.
Morocco's National Authority for Poverty Prevention and Fight Against Corruption signed an institutional partnership agreement with the General Directorate for National Security and the General Directorate for Territorial Surveillance. In a joint statement, the two parties described the accord as a strategic and legal milestone that goes beyond a simple technical cooperation framework. The agreement, they said, reflects the state's explicit will to shield its internal front against corruption risks by establishing a sustainable system of coordination and institutional complementarity between sovereignty, security apparatus, and an independent constitutional body. It seeks to strengthen collaboration between the security services and the anti-corruption authority to ensure efficiency, professionalism, and respect for human rights in the handling of corruption-related cases. The agreement establishes mechanisms for exchanging information, technical and operational support, and expertise in investigating and preventing corruption. It also includes the organization of specialized training programs on detection and investigation techniques and the development of shared reference guides for intervention. Additionally, it foresees the creation of early warning systems and a national corruption risk map, along with awareness campaigns promoting integrity and transparency within professional environments. Somalia has announced plans to accelerate the introduction of Swahili into school and universities curricula as part of its integration efforts within the East African community. Swahili, East Africa's lingua franca and one of the continent's most widely spoken languages, will be promoted as working and instructional language alongside Somali, Arabic, and English. President Hassan Sheikh Mohammed called on Somali universities to take the lead in teaching and promoting Swahili, emphasizing its importance for regional unity and cooperation. The Somali National University, along with all Somali universities, must take the lead in promoting Swahili, the common language of the East African region, he said. President Mohammed added that Somalia's integration into the East African region is already taking shape, reflected in growing economic ties, cross-border trade, and the increasing number of professionals from neighboring countries contributing to Somalia's public and private sectors. He emphasized that the next phase of this partnership should go beyond commerce, calling for deeper cultural and linguistic integration to strengthen regional identity.
They shaped history. They inspired generations. They are the notables.
I think of voices I have lost, the pledge unspoken, the more than acts of faith that forge an instant world in silent pact with strangers.
We consider ourselves the spokesmen for the underprivileged peoples of the world.
We honor Wole Soyinka, a legend who left his mark.
Egypt's former Minister of Tourism and Antiquities, Dr. Khalid Al-Inani, has been elected as the new Director General of the United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization. He succeeds Francis Audrey Azoulay after winning a landslide victory in the Executive Board of Elections held in Paris on Monday, October 6, 2025, coinciding with the 52nd anniversary of the October War victory. Al-Inani secured 55 votes against just 2 for his closest rival, Firmin Edouard Matsuko of the Republic of Congo, the largest winning margin in UNESCO's history. His election marks a historic milestone as he becomes the first Arab and only the second African to lead UNESCO since its founding in 1945. In his acceptance speech, Dr. Al-Inani said he had visited 65 countries during his campaign, engaging all member states inclusively. He pledged to work with all nations to modernize UNESCO within his first 100 days without discrimination or personal agenda. Mauritania and Niger have secured significant financing agreements to boost renewable energy development. Mauritania signed a $300 million deal with Dubai-based Iowa Green Energy to build a 60-megawatt hybrid solar wind power plant, its first projection with an independent power producer. The facility, under a 15-year power purchase agreement with Somelec, is expected to come online by September next year. The project is part of the Desert Power Initiative supported by African Development Bank, aimed at attracting private investment across 11 Sahel countries. Meanwhile, Niger and AFDB agreed on $144.7 million to enhance energy access and private sector competitiveness under the first phase of the Energy Sector Governance and Competitive Support Program. The funding is expected to raise electricity access from 22.5% to 30% by 2026 and support the development of 240 megawatt of solar capacity by 2030, including 50 megawatt by December 2026. The agreements highlighted a growing shift in Africa toward private investment in renewable energy to expand capacity, reduce costs, and support sustainable development. Now to business news. Eric Monchu Intong, Group Managing Director for Client Relations Management at Afreximbank, emphasized the bank's central role in promoting, facilitating and financing both intra-African and extra-African trade. Speaking to Pulse of Africa, he highlighted Afreximbank's strategic collaboration with the African Continental Free Trade Area to strengthen trade ties among African nations. In addition to trade facilitation, Afreximbank is actively supporting the growth of industries across the continent. The bank is also extending its support to African financial institutions, aiming to build a robust financial ecosystem that can sustain long-term development. Persistent trade deficits remain a challenge for several African countries, where imports consistently exceed exports, placing pressure on foreign reserves and currency stability. One of Afreximbank's key objectives is to help manage and reduce these deficits. Eric Monchu Intong said to boost African exports, the bank is implementing strategies that include facilitating technology transfers to in-house production capabilities, encouraging local manufacture to reduce import dependency, and promoting value addition to raw materials, thereby increasing export earnings.
El Dorado, a land of wealth, a future of limitless possibilities. This is El Dorado. From natural rich to groundbreaking innovations, discover Africa's untapped potential.
Africa remains the world's second fastest growing region after Asia. East Africa, with real GDP growth rising from an estimated 1.5% in 2023 to 5.7% in 2025. Growth is projected to pick up in West Africa, in North Africa, growth is projected to decline from an estimated 4.1% in 2023 to 3.6% in 2024 and 4.2% in 2025. Growth in Southern Africa, growth in Central Africa, average growth in oil exporting countries, Africa's economic performance is showing signs of improvement according to the 2025 Macroeconomic Performance and Outlook.
El Dorado, unveiling Africa's global potential.
Angola returned to international bond markets on Tuesday, October 7, 2025, with the Euro bond issue aimed partly at refinancing debt maturing in November 2025. The Southern African oil producer is looking to take advantage of improved market conditions to raise $1.5 billion through US dollar-denominated bonds with 5- and 10-year maturities, the Finance Ministry said. The bonds are due in January 2030 and October 2035, respectively, with initial price guidance around 9.75% and 10.50%, according to the ministry. The issuance led by Citigroup, Deutsche Bank, JP Morgan, and Standard Chartered is part of the government's border budget financing plan, which targets about $6 billion in borrowings through various debt instruments to meet total financing needs of $14.9 billion. The sale will also help repay $864 million of existing bonds maturing next month. S&P Global Ratings currently assigns Angola's long-term foreign currency debt a B rating with a stable outlook. Luanda last tapped international bond markets in April 2022 when it raised $1.75 billion at a yield of 8.75% through a 10-year Eurobond, an offering also managed by Citigroup and Deutsche Bank. Now to weather updates. That's all for today. Thank you for watching Pulse of Africa.